Spoiler alert, I'm gonna let you know right now, you're the first person I told other than my coach and my girl. Um,
Who do you like in the open division this year? Who do you think is going to
oh
end up
shit.
taking it home?
You think if you're trying to push the issue of conditioning, you gotta lower that weight cap.
Do you feel like the amount of edits that you would put in a photo is simply to bring out the detail that you would not see through the camera?
4 weeks, 212, 212 Olympia, and new.
All right, welcome back everyone to another episode of the Bodybuilding Breakdown. I am joined today by Kerrith Bajjo, 212 champion 2022. 2022 you won the Tampa Pro. 2023
Yes, sir.
you took home the title at the New York Pro, and now all roads lead the Olympia. Kerrith, thank you so much for
Yeah,
joining me.
man.
How you feeling, man? How's it going?
Kenton, I'm doing great, man. And I'm in such a good spot. I'm in good spirits. I'm in good health. What more can you ask for? We're about to go to the Olympia for the third time, and we've already accomplished something that, you know, I don't want to say that many didn't, you know, see it coming. They just didn't think they would see it this soon. Um, so I think we're good. Well, I know we're going to bring the best package that I've ever brought to the stage, and it's going to be able to rival anyone's. I love all my friends that are competing with me. I love all the competitors, but we're ready this time. Yeah.
And you've been making some steady progress. I mean, it was 2021, you took eighth place at the Olympia. 2022,
Yep.
you took seventh place at the Olympia. But
Yep.
also, you finished. This is your third time that you competed at the New York Pro, and each time you competed,
Yeah.
your placings were better than the last. So the steady
Yeah.
improvements have been happening. How do you feel you've been really making improvements in your physique over the last couple of years?
Dude, I'll tell you, it's this simple. I want it more than anybody on the stage. Plain and simple. I love them all. I want it more. Like that's where the competitive nature of bodybuilding comes into play for me. It's not one in the gym. At the end of the day, you don't get trophies in the gym. You could be king of the gym all you want, but on stage, I want to own that bitch. Plain and simple. So those are the things that really motivate me, and I do this for myself, but others that have been with me on this journey, my girl Lori, my family, all my friends, all you guys that support me really, kind of give me that extra oomph on those days where I'm not feeling it. On those poses, break it down even smaller. On those poses, I'm not feeling it. You guys are in the back of my head like, dude, you're better than that. And those are the things that push me to keep excelling, keep growing, keep going with the thing.
You've got a lot of fans out there. Anytime that I really ever make any posts about you or feature anything about you in particular, I always get the same comments. You've got a fantastic physique. You've got that hard, grainy conditioning that you just don't see out of a lot of other competitors. It's really what sets you apart, as well as the shape, the flow. It's all there. But at the same time, I've heard you speak in the past about how you feel like you're a little bit underrated. So why is it that you think that you're an underrated bodybuilder out there in the grand scheme?
So, to answer your question more clearly this time, I will say that it's the social media aspect that really kind of suppresses my exposure. You have guys that are influencers for different companies, and they've been doing this for a while. And so haven't I, but I never had the opportunity to work with a lot of these big name companies or have the luxury of guest posing at, multiple shows throughout the year. So those things kind of suppress my exposure. It's not to say that I'm not equally as good as the next guy, but, at the end of the day, I'm not necessarily presented the same opportunities. And on another note, I'd just like to say thank you to a lot of the people who comment on your page, because they say some sweet stuff. And thank you guys for sticking up for me. A lot of guys like to say, "Oh, edited this, edited that." Listen, I'll keep it real. Yeah, I'll edit my photos if it makes the photo look better. You think that back in the day, these magazines weren't edited and people weren't presenting the best photo they could? why is it a crime if I do that on social media? But disregard all that. I just want to say thank you to the people that do stick up for me, and listen, a photo is not the gospel for me. I look better in person. And when I stand next to a guy on stage, they see that. And the guys that understand bodybuilding, they know what's happening. So, with all that said, I think those are the things that kind of suppress me. And yeah, I'm sorry. I know I ran with that one, but I had to bring it back full circle.
No, listen, you're about 4 weeks out from stepping on that Olympia stage, all right? Yeah, don't worry about that. But no, you're right. You make an excellent point that I even didn't consider myself. There is not a magazine out there that has ever been published, I would argue, that hasn't
Come
had
on.
an edited photo. You're absolutely right. You're 100% right. And you know what? That right there is perspective. You're 100% right.
And listen, I'll fire shots when shots need to be fired. A lot of guys can say, "Oh, this photo is edited," and they'll talk shit. But at the same time, they're commenting from a video that is edited and being aired. So I'm like, all right, listen, hold on, something doesn't add up here. So you could talk shit about a photo being edited, but when you're in an edited video, isn't that the same thing?
Do
You
you
know?
feel like the amount of edits that you would put in a photo is simply to bring out the detail that you would not see through the camera?
I'm never trying to show something that's not there. Like if I darken a photo to bring out, a certain detail that I could see with the naked eye that you won't be able to see because the camera can't capture the blacks, then, yeah, by all means, I'm gonna show you the best version of myself. And I think that's also another thing. A lot of photographers are out there, and listen, I love the guys that are great. Will, Gilko, um, my guy down Cliff down in Texas, and there's an endless list of guys that are awesome. Forgive me if I'm forgetting anybody, but you get a lot of cell phone photos, and with that, you get the good, bad, and the ugly. So you might not necessarily see your favorite bodybuilder in the best light, or somebody that doesn't necessarily know what they're doing. They capture a guy breathing, and then all of a sudden you're hearing, "Oh, bubble gut, bubble gut." So I mean, like those photos aren't properly thought out. Like maybe I shouldn't air this guy in that light, you know. But I digress.
Well,
So,
you're not gonna hear anybody saying anything about a bubble gut for yourself. That I know for sure. But you're right about guys like Gilco Productions that are out there. I
yeah,
mean
yeah.
that the footage that we saw from the New York Pro, that was I believe that was one of my first introductions to footage like that, and it's fantastic. It's really able to show bodybuilders, not really in like we've been speaking about an edited sense, but I really feel that
Yeah,
it is a true representation of being able to see the closest thing to in person through a screen.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. He's phenomenal. The first time I think he worked the show was when I was at the Chicago Pro in Georgia, and he showcased Brett Wilkin in a light that nobody ever saw coming. He made Brett look like a Atlas statue. It was fantastic, and he's continued to do that for the guys that work hard and present it on stage. But what he did at the New York Pro with that black backdrop, amazing, amazing.
Absolutely. No, that was
Yeah,
a
I tell
fantastic backdrop.
yeah, I told him straight up, I was like, dude, you just made me a legend. So yeah, he really did put together quality product. And I mean, listen, that guy's not out there putting out bad photos, bad videos. Everybody looks like a rock star. Everybody, gets to showcase all their hard work. And I mean, I don't know if there are filters on that, but I know that camera cost a bazillion dollars. You know what I mean? So it's going to capture every kind of black that you can see. So, but again, I digress. And I just wanted to say that part because I've been hearing a lot of, oh, his photos are edited and oh, this is a front double filter, which is fucking hilarious, number one. But kudos to whoever came up with that one. I got a sense of humor. But in truth, I look better in person. So, it doesn't really phase me. But, for a lesser mind, that might be able to, you know, mess with somebody in the middle of prep.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you're not in the middle of prep. You're coming on to the end of this prep. We're 4 weeks away from the Olympia, you know,
Yeah.
and you're coming off a very, very successful bodybuilding season. Well, two really. I mean, you won two very, very prestigious shows, especially the New York Pro. In fact, after the New York Pro, and this is one thing that I wanted to ask you about. After the New York Pro, there was conversation about what if Kerrith actually was able to stand next to Tony O'Burton? What would that have looked like? Have you heard any of those conversations?
I've had multiple conversations about this,
Yeah.
and I love Tonio. I'm a fan, but I never lost to Tonio. um, we competed against each other at the Olympia, and I was blown
Yeah.
away
He
by
was a
him.
212 guy. Yeah.
Yeah, I was shocked to find that out because he looked like an open guy as a 212 guy, and when I saw him at the New York Pro, I told him straight, I was like, dude, you're gonna win the show hands down. And it was kind of funny because he was like, dude, you're gonna win the show hands down. I was like, well, let's go win it. And look at what happened. So hopefully I see him at the Olympia and we have that same conversation.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, like I said, you're coming off a very successful New York Pro victory. Last year at the Olympia, you took 7th place. What's your
Yeah.
expectation for this year? What's the game plan going into this year's Olympia?
Kenzen, the plan is always to win.
Okay.
And it has been a successful past 3 years, 3 years. Because I got to include the year prior when I won Tampa and I got my
Yeah,
first
yeah.
qualifier.
Tell me about that. Yeah.
So, at that time I was working with Dave Palumbo. Shout out to Dave. Dave and I, we started together. He turned me pro at Team Universe back in 2017. And then we went on to start competing as a professional 7 months later. And we've always done better. Going into the next show, we've always looked better. We've always brought something different, something, it might not have been as conditioned, but it was always a different look. And we were always strategizing. What are we going to bring to the stage to compete against whoever's going to be there? And, fast forward, I think this year we've got all the right pieces together. And I think instead of being on the defensive, we're more on the offensive with a strong defense.
Okay. Okay. So that's the game plan. You want to go in
Yeah.
with you it sounds like you're trying to go in there and have, I guess, parts of you that are going to stand out over what others may have, because the conversation that I'm seeing lately is you going after that top three. So in that top three, I think that you're going to end up having, of course, our current champion, Sean Clarita. Sean shows
Yeah.
up in fantastic condition. He's round,
Every
he's
time.
hard, he's full. I'm seeing conversations about Keon Pearson as well, because people say that Keon has that very pleasing shape. He is showing up with better
Mm-hmm.
condition every time. But of course, we still have guys like Angel Calderon, who's just a monster in the 212
Yeah.
division, So there's a lot of differences within those three physiques, and as well as yourself. What what
Yeah.
what is it that you think is really going to make you stand out this year?
Um, I hate to go, body part for body part. So let's just go shot for shot.
Sure.
Um, I think I can match everybody. I love them all. I think I can match everybody. I'll say that with confidence every time. I put that on my mama. You know, everybody knows I love my mama. So, but in truth, Kenzen, I think that you know we've matured. We've developed our own style. We're running our own race, and that's what I always wanted to do. So it's not, do I keep up with this guy? It's like, all right, well, let's hold pace and let's pass this guy now. Let's do this. And that's not a slight at anybody, because if you're doing this, I hope to God that you have the same mindset that you can beat the next guy on the right day.
Well, they call you the apex predator, and the
Hey,
apex predator, of course, has no one to come after them, right? That's the
that's
whole
it.
thing. where
That's
where did
it.
you get where did you get that nickname?
Well, I'm big killer whale fan. Just any animal that's top of the food chain in their right respect. Lions, humans, honestly, you're a human, you're an apex predator because we got hands, we could build things, and we could kill things. So, how can we not be an apex predator? But, and we have cognition. So, all these things kind of come into play. But as far as the name goes, as much as I hate to admit this, because I have a thing about it, it was a self-inflicted wound. So I came up with the name and people liked it. So we ran with it.
I got it. Hey man, it works, it does.
Yeah.
It's a great, it really does work.
But never give yourself a nickname. It's just horrible.
Yeah, no, I can't, it's not really a nickname, but EP09 was something I did come up with myself. It was
I wanted to know the backstory to that, man. Please enlighten me. I gotta know.
Yeah. Okay. In 2009, I was just after finishing. We talked before we hit record here about a couple of the different things that I've done. One of the things I did was I graduated from a welding college. I mean, I do, and it served me well doing underwater welding now. But I moved actually across the province here in Nova Scotia to live with my cousin. And in between, actually, it was a few months where we were trying to find work. All we did was eat, sleep, train, and play video games, really. So
sounds like life of a bodybuilder.
Well, that's what it was for me. It was the closest thing that I've ever had to a true life of a bodybuilder. I mean, I always like right behind that door is my fucking gym, right? I mean, it's what I do here. But for me, it was a time in my life that was very meaningful to just eat, sleep, train, and that's all we did, right? And when we were playing, it was an Xbox game of some sort. He said, you got to make your own profile. And at the time, we were living in a place called Eastern Passage. So in 2009, I was living in Eastern Passage, and that's just what it ended up coming to. It's not, it's, I don't know.
If it works, if it works, go with it, man. Yeah.
And it's always been my online handle, and I just started running with the channel, and it just kept going and going, and it's to where it is now. At first, everyone was like, EP Zeroni, like, what the fuck is this guy got for a channel? Like, nobody knew what it was, right? Now I find it's kind of created its own thing, and people kind of caught on to it. So it's cool, it's unique.
It sticks. The first time I heard it, I was like, I'm not gonna forget that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It does.
And I forget everything. I forget everything. So the fact that I remember that means it works. I don't know. I would run with it.
Yeah, no, it's good, right? It's always really worked for me, but it was the time in my life that I really did just eat, sleep, train, and nothing else mattered. I mean, now I've got my diving company. I've got, there's 2 kids here, everything associated with that. And this was my outlet for bodybuilding. So it just kind of went hand in hand for me.
Nice, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations on all that, and I still say you run with EP09. I like it.
Yeah. I mean, the more that I really get into the channel, and the more the channel grows, I find the more it's growing on me to some capacity. It's always going to be there for me.
Right. So you said Nova Scotia, so you're on East Coast.
Yeah. I live on the North Atlantic. Basically, you can't really get any farther in Canada unless you hop a ferry over to Newfoundland than where I live.
Oh wow. Yeah. No, that's cold. It sounds cold just being up that way.
Man, the water's been so, like, I was out today in a t-shirt, dude. The water's still like 13 degrees Celsius here. We've had very, very, I still got guys that are diving.
What's that translate to in Fahrenheit?
Roughly, oh god, 65, 68 maybe.
Oh man, that's cold as shit. That's cold as shit. That's an ice bath. That's cryo.
Dude, we're still diving wetsuits up here. Like it's been it's not common for us to do that. Like oftentimes this time of year we're diving dry suits like religiously, right? But we're still getting away with it. I was in the water today. I felt it. I was like, holy shit, man, like we're really getting away with it this year, which is great for us, right?
Yeah, no. You ever seen that video of that person trying to put the cat in the bathtub? It was like all 4 limbs. Yeah, that's me. 60-degree water. Yeah, that's me.
So you're not going to come diving then? Not getting you out diving?
Nope. I'm all set. I'll tell you a story about time when we went diving in St. Thomas.
All right, all right.
Yeah, I'll tell you about that later. But
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Yeah, cool. Yeah.
long story short is Lori decided she wanted to, go snorkeling, and she ended up swimming out into the open ocean, not realizing how deep the water was. So, I had to swim out to get her, and she was getting caught up in the rip current, So, I pointed down to her. I tapped her on the shoulder, pointed down, and she looked down and finally saw that it was like 35 feet deep water. So, I don't know what that is in meters, but it was too damn deep. So, anyhow, had to swim across and back in towards land, but she damn near swam out to the ocean. She's not the strongest swimmer in the world, but luckily that was the last time we went diving.
It's
Shit,
it's fun.
I don't think we've been in water since.
Nah, you don't need to. The time spent in the gym. No, it's fun. It's
Yeah.
funny. Everything that we do here, it actually diving is in the imperial system. Everything we do is in feet.
Wow.
But you know what? You actually can't see on a good day here. Visibility underwater is like 7 to 10 feet is like good visibility here. So yeah, it freaks people out. But for me, that's
That's
like,
horrible.
no, dude, that's wicked conditions for us.
I'm telling you, that's like, honestly, my coffee is probably more transparent than that.
Sometimes we go diving in that too. Sometimes we'll dive and it's like you can't see your hand in front of your face. They teach you how to dive without being able to actually see.
See, that's like a horror movie on every level. That's like The Conjuring for me. Like, fuck that on every level. Like,
Oh
no,
man.
no, 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 no. Give me a swimming pool, with a nice infinity edge. Okay, now we're talking. But as
I'll
far
have
as
to
swimming in soup, no.
I'll have to send you some of my diving videos. You'll shit. It's crazy.
Please do. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's always fun to watch. I don't necessarily want to participate, but I'm from the tropical area, so being born in Jamaica, we get the crystal clear waters and stuff like that. So those are the type of waters that I'm accustomed to seeing. I won't go swimming up north. Number one, the water is just too damn cold, and then it's too rich with nutrients, so you can't see shit.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
end of end of the day, I stay on land and
Yeah.
eat.
Yeah.
The food's better on land anyhow.
Actually, that's one thing I wanted to ask you about. How's the food treating you right now? What's your diet consist
Oh
of right now?
man. Dude, you got me on a good day. I know we were supposed to record yesterday, but
Yeah, yeah.
I was in the dumps yesterday, and finally I got a refeed. So I have some cognition back, but we were grinding it out for a little bit. And when I say a little bit, for me, that's usually like a week and a half, 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I'm usually on top of things, so I get a refeed pretty frequently. But having my refeed yesterday and increased carbohydrates today, I feel really, really good. But the dieting part doesn't bother me mentally. It's just what I'm able to produce physically. Like the output. The output gets kind of retracted a little bit. I don't have as much to give. Even though I want to, the intent is there. But it's just sometimes you just need a refeed. You got to kind of, as my coach Justin Miller would say, you got to come up for air. No pun intended. You know,
Very good. Yeah, very good. I like it. Yeah, I like
you
it.
know. Yeah, so you got to come up for air sometimes because if you go hard all the time, you end up looking flat.
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
You've been down pretty low on calories. I would dare say.
Yeah, I mean, I still get my 6 meals. It's just,
Yeah,
you think about it and the food's gone already.
yeah.
Yeah,
Especially now, I'm sure. Yeah.
a
You
hundred
only you
percent.
you're only a few weeks away till you start to fill out. So I mean, and that's
Yeah,
man,
that's.
I can't even imagine. That's gonna be nuts looking, dude. Like it's gonna be nuts.
I'm very confident that this physique that we bring for the 212 Olympia will be able to even rival some of the open guys.
Do you have any
And
ambitions to go? Do you have ambitions to go open someday?
oh hell yeah! Sorry, I had to burp, but oh hell yeah!
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna do that this year, but they canceled Puerto Rico, so we're gonna
Oh.
go New York and then into Puerto Rico. We're gonna eat our way into Puerto Rico, um, but they canceled that show, so unfortunately that didn't happen. And then we considered doing Legion Fest if it was after the Olympia, but I believe they moved it up. what is it, 3 weeks before the Olympia? Because it's next week, correct?
Yeah, the
Legion
Legion
Fest?
is yeah, the Legion is this weekend, so it's only like 2 days out at this point. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, about 3 weeks out, they switched that up on us. And we didn't want to, fill up and then die down 3 weeks. It's just, it was too much. So, I should say it was too much to risk because we know what we could do going straight into the 212 Olympia. So we're going to save that. And, spoiler alert, I'm going to let you know right now, you're the first person I told other than my coach and my girl. Um, we applied for the Arnold. So, let's see what happens.
Arnold
Yeah.
Classic 2024 in the
Yes.
open division, because there
In the
is no
open division.
212 in the Arnold, Ohio.
Yeah. And it would be our first time that we actually get to eat our way into a show comfortably and not have to really worry about calories.
Ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here first. Kerrith Bajjo is coming for the Arnold
Well,
Classic Ohio.
let's hope they accept my application. No
Oh,
pressure.
yeah, no
No
pressure.
pressure. No pressure, Arnold Sports Festival. You
Yeah,
know.
yeah, Arnold,
But
if you're listening, yeah, keep an eye out.
right. That would be pretty cool because when I turned pro, my goal was to do the 212. That was the last year they had it. The year
Okay.
after, they got rid of the 212 division, which I think should be a staple in the Arnold, Ohio. The 212 division, the women's physique division. I don't see how you have bodybuilding without those. Even though back in the day, I understand it was just one class. I think it's the sport itself has matured to where you need diversity. I
Well,
think you need these categories.
we are seeing changes within the current categories. If you look at even in the last, year here, we've seen men's physique have implemented height caps and weight caps. Classic
Yeah,
physique, they have increased the weight caps for all of the
right.
competitors. Now, one question I have for you is, do you think that 212 is next?
Um, so I don't think that needs to be touched. I think 212 is a good weight. If anything, I would say take it back to 202. But if you're not going to do that, then don't touch it.
Okay. Back to
Yeah,
202. That's interesting.
back to 202. I was actually talking to Kevin English about that, and he was like, if there was any way that it could be fixed, it would be dial it back instead of making it higher. You
Okay.
know,
You
um,
don't hear that a lot in bodybuilding, traditionally since, oh man, I mean, you can take it back to the 50s. Everything is bigger and better,
yeah,
So that'd be
yeah.
interesting.
100%. And it's not to say that you can't be a bigger version at 202. It's just that it's really how you present it because we know this is a game of illusions. You know, it's just how you showcase what you have. You can make 202 look like 225. And a guy 212 can make that look like 190.
Right, right.
So it's really on how you present it. And I would say, if anything, if you're trying to push the issue of conditioning, you got to lower that weight cap.
And
You know,
conditioning is something that is it's making its way back. I think
yeah,
that we had a few years there where the emphasis wasn't necessarily there, especially with open bodybuilding right now. I find that you're really seeing a lot more balance between that
yeah,
conditioning is definitely back, but you're seeing the balance of, I mean, since really the inception of classic physique is where I really saw it start to make its turn, where these open guys are just
mhm,
much larger versions of that classic physique type look, right? Where it's very
yeah,
aesthetic, good flow, the midsection. And I really think that bodybuilding has made a turn in a very, very positive way since we've seen that really being rewarded.
100%. Well, you get guys like Big Ramy, right? For instance,
Right.
Rami's a massive human being, but
Yes.
he brings conditioning, and he's still got that nice V taper. Say what you want to say about him being off at a certain show or whatever, but all in all, collectively, Rami brings it. So I
Yeah.
think he was
Yeah.
the anomaly. He was the anomaly that got things to transition to more of a aesthetic and conditioned physique. It was the freak factor of both extremes.
Well, he had that in 2013 at the New York, of course, the New York Pro, right? When he showed up in
Yeah,
2013 on that New York Pro stage, that's exactly what he represented with that physique. He had the freak factor,
100%.
but man, he had those aesthetics. He had the conditioning. It
Yep.
was there. It was.
Yeah, 100%. And then, I mean, forgive me, Brandon Curry the year before. He actually, take it back. It was probably Brandon Curry that made way for the more aesthetic physique to come back. But Rami carried the torch very well,
I think you're
in
right.
my opinion. In
No,
my
I think
opinion.
that's very, very fair to say. 2019 Brandon Curry, that
Yeah.
was one of the more aesthetic Mr.
Yeah.
Olympias in the past number of years since before that. And it has been making its way back now. The level of
Yep.
the level of balance that we're seeing in physiques, I think it's one of the best eras in bodybuilding that really has come into any timeline. I really think that coming into where we are now, we're seeing the best of the best. And I've heard guys like I've heard Ed Connors say it when he was doing commentary. I think it was for the Europa. And I mean, Ed Connors
Mm-hmm.
is a legend, and he even said
Legend.
that he thinks that guys are getting too big. And I really had to disagree with that because the aesthetics are being emphasized now. So if you still have the
Yes.
aesthetics, you still have the flow, let the size go, man. Let it go.
Yeah. Now I look at guys like Andrew Jacked, and I look at Samson, Lunsford even.
Yeah.
All these guys represent great symmetry, great shape, great conditioning. Like the list goes on. But they bring the perfect storm, of the modern era. And I know people will disagree until they're blue in the face because it's the whole LeBron Jordan argument. You know what I mean? Listen, I still struggle. I love legends. I love them. I respect them with all my heart. But I still struggle to see how guys of the past were attaining the conditioning that's out there now. You know what I mean? I know we didn't have HD photos back then. And, it's tough because as time goes on, the mind's going to perceive whatever it wants to. So with all that said, you could have a guy that looked okay back in the day, and like they'll swear this guy was phenomenal, and I'm just like, I need receipts.
100%, man. 100%. And the guys these days, especially, and it is a factor when it comes to HD video photos, things like that. But
Yeah,
regardless, even in person, the guys that are showing up now, undeniable. And that's what it comes
yeah,
down to for me. These physiques that are showing up, they're not missing anything. That top 10 at the Olympia, it's very difficult to find guys that are missing that you can pick apart body parts, and you can
yeah,
pick on conditioning and things like that. But at the end of the day, these guys really are showing up in the best physiques that we have seen grace bodybuilding stages. Really, I think is the modern era. The 90s, I really enjoyed the 90s when it comes to the mass monster area, Dorian Yates, and the continuation through
yeah,
the late 90s, early Ronnie Coleman, undeniable. I mean, look, 2003
yeah.
Ronnie Coleman, nobody would ever argue, right? But we
Right,
really
but
are
those
coming
those
into
legends, yeah, those legends are so rare. It's like when you talk about like the dream team of bodybuilding. Those guys are they're in a whole nother category.
yeah,
Like, don't even
yeah,
mention them because they were that good. They would transcend any era of any kind of physique competition ever. You
yeah,
know what I
you're
mean? They
right.
would always be at the top of that. So, like, I never take those guys into consideration. I'm just talking about like, the masses. Just, like, I hate to call anyone who's a professional average, but you know what I'm saying? Like, it just collectively,
Sure.
collectively, when you talk about the entire organization at the time, and keep in mind, it's more saturated now, so you get more faces to look at. Back in the day, it was kind of a niche thing, so you were getting a handful of guys who were absolutely cream of the crop phenomenal. You think about one pro card a year. You got to
Yeah,
be
yeah.
special. You got to be special to get that. You know what
Oh,
I'm
I feel
saying?
you, man. Yeah. Oh no, I hear you, man. I do. I hear you. I do. Well, let me ask you this: who do you like in the open division this year? Who do you think is going to
Oh
end up
shit.
taking it home?
I said it before. I'm not going to stutter on it. I got Samson.
Okay, yeah.
I got Samson winning. I love Derek. Dude, Derek's phenomenal. And I love the fact that he's a 212 guy. I love the fact that Hottie's a 212 guy. But when you get down to just what this guy has done over the past 2 years and constant improvement, like, and he's not slowing down. That's the thing. It's
Yeah,
like he's
man.
just picking up steam. He's not slowing down. Not to say that anyone else is, but the rate of acceleration on him, he's got a lot in the tank. He got a lot in the tank, so he can floor it and go. You know, and I think that ultimately, when the song's over, I think he's going to be raising that Sandow.
Okay. Okay. No,
Yeah,
a lot of people agree with you, man. A lot of, and it is undeniable the progress that he's been
yeah,
making. I mean, just look at the difference even between the 2022 Olympia to the 2023 Arnold Classic. And that was a short period of time where he made such substantial improvements. What are we going to see in, only about 3 weeks when it
yeah.
comes to improvements? It's going to be substantial. There's no question.
It's going to be nutty. And having talking to Milos the other day,
Yeah.
um, I think we're going to be in for a surprise. Yeah. Yeah, I think we're going to be in for a surprise. And I think that, shit, he's probably going to surprise himself. you know,
He does say that he
coming
does
from,
that
yeah,
sometimes. He says he couldn't even believe how much he grows. Yeah.
yeah, coming from where he started from to now. Oh,
Yeah.
man, yeah, it's crazy.
It
You
is
know,
crazy.
so but the same thing goes with Lunsford. Derek's made tremendous leaps this year, and I don't know, like, he's so focused, so driven. Not that you know anyone else isn't, but it's just, I think he feels as if this is his time. This is his Olympia. So it's up for grabs, but my pick is definitely Samson in this. It's too much shape, too much aesthetics, too much size. And then, I know it doesn't matter, but when you talk about 300 pounds condition, like, that's just nuts. That's just
Undeniable.
nuts. If you're in the
Undeniable.
gym, if you're in the gym and you're lifting weights, if you see a guy that's 300 pounds and kind of jacked, you're like, oh my goodness, this guy is unbelievable. We're talking about a guy with paper skin thin. Did I say that right? Paper thin skin.
You got it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Say that 3 times fast. So
Yeah,
paper
really though.
skin thin, right? Or yeah, you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, prep
But
brain.
he's
Yeah.
300 pounds. Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Plus, I'm not a lyrical genius. Never claimed to be a poet. But yeah, it's just mind blowing what this guy's doing with Milos, and kudos to them. Best of luck to them. I know they're going to shock the world.
100%, man. 100%. Last question. There's one thing I got to
Sure.
ask you before I let you go.
Let's hear
Tell
it.
me about tell me about the first time you ever laid down and did bench press.
Oh God. Oh wow. That story can get me in a lot of trouble, Kenzie. Oh God.
Okay,
So
tell me the weight that you did.
315 pounds.
315 pounds. First time you did
Three,
bench.
it was incline.
It was
And
incline.
not, it was incline. And the story gets better. It was incline. I just ran 10 miles across town. I'm not kidding. I am not kidding. Now, a friend of mine, Reggie Henderson. Reggie, I don't know if you'll ever see this, but what's up, bro? So Reggie was starting center for our football team. And, me being who I am, oh God, I talk a lot of shit. Like, don't get it twisted. Me and my friends, we crack on each other all the time. That's how we pass the time. So, I was talking crap to him, and Reggie got on the bar and he did it one time. So, me being who I am, that's all you got? Like, you're big for nothing. He's like, why don't you try it? So I got onto the bench and I legit benched 315 multiple times. I don't want to give you a number,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I did get reps out of it. And when I did that, everybody went silent and they were like, oh my goodness, like, this is crazy. This kid should have played football. There's more to that story, but like I said, it could get me in trouble.
I got you. No. I know that you're a natural athlete in general. So
Yeah.
the success that you're having with bodybuilding because of some of the accomplishments that you've had there, not surprising. And I think that this year we're really, really going to see something substantial from you. I'm really, really looking
Yeah.
forward to it. We're only 4
Thanks,
weeks
Kenzie.
away from we're not far from really seeing exactly what it is you've been working on at the Olympia. And I'm telling you, I'm really excited to see it, man. I really am. As a fan, I'm really excited to see it.
Well, as a fan myself, I appreciate that, but I'm also excited to see what I could do. So I love seeing the post photos, like especially when a guy like Gilko, when Will Whitman's taking the pictures. I know I'm gonna look like a rock star up there. So after prejudging, I'm like, all right, who posted what? And usually, Lori's on it. She's like, you got to see what this guy posted. So I always love seeing those photos and knowing, yeah, I nailed the ball. I mean, I nailed the mark, and I did present the best version of myself. And since I've started doing this, that progression hasn't stopped. It's not going to stop now. 4 weeks, 212, 212 Olympia, and new. I'll leave it there.
We're going to see it all go down real soon.
All due respects to the champ. I'm not trying to, badmouth him. That guy's he's a fucking winner, straight up. So that guy's a winner, and he does it like the best. That's all I'm gonna say. He does it like the best, and that's why he's in the position he's in. But I think it's time for changing the guard. I think this is the year for me.
Everybody's looking forward to seeing it, and it's not going to be long now. I think this is going to be one of the most exciting 212 battles that we've ever seen on an Olympia stage. So I'm
gonna agree with you 1,000%. And it's more than just me. It's more than me and Sean. Everybody in there is a killer, man. Everybody's, they're all Apex brothers.
There's a lot of great competitors that are coming into the Olympia. But yeah.
Megalodon.
We know. Well, listen,
I actually got a Megalodon too.
Oh, do you? Nice.
Yeah. It's one of my prized possessions. I got it from my chiropractor.
Nice.
Shout out to Dave Waltzer.
No, that's awesome, man. That's awesome. Yeah. But look, we're gonna wrap it up here. Kerrith Bajjo, thank you so much for coming on this episode of the Bodybuilding Breakdown. Like I said, we're not far out from the Olympia. We're going to see it go down on the 212 stage real soon. And let's get you on again. We'll see about after the Olympia, let everything cool down, and then we'll have another chat about it.
Absolutely. And, can I just do shameless plugs real quick?
Oh, go for it.
My man. Shout outs to Redcon 1. These guys always got my back. Highest state of readiness. You're always ready to go. And my clothing sponsor out of Canada, Rest When Dead. Aaron, what's up? Make sure you guys go to Rest When Dead. Check that out. You don't need a promo code, but you can get my signature shirt and a couple other signature shirts on there. You see me, Max, and Cody. Make sure you go out and support. And, from the bottom of my heart, Kenzen, thank you. You always stand up for me. And, keep making great content. Just keep doing what you're doing, whether it's EP09, whether it's bodybuilding. What's the new name?
Bodybuilding Breakdown as a potential.
Bodybuilding Breakdown, whatever it is, all the success in the world, brother.
No, listen, thanks a lot, man. I really appreciate it. Thanks a lot for coming on. Best of luck here in a few weeks. We're going to wrap it up there. Thank you, everybody, for tuning into this episode of the Bodybuilding Breakdown.